Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. It is that time of the year again where we're making some reading goals for the next year. So today I want to talk to you about my goals for 2025. Now, in the last couple of years, I decided to make a list of 5 authors I wanted to try in the next year, and then also 5 series I wanted to marathon read. And with that goal, I have been quite successful. So I think the amount of authors and series to read is really good for me personally. So I think I want to stick to that. But before I want to tell you about the authors and series I want to read next year, I also wanted to mention that my top goal next year is going to be to reduce my physical TBR to 0. I've been trying to do that for the last couple of years, but I've never been very strict about it. So I never had a book buying ban. I never told my family not to give me books and stuff like that. So I think, I haven't really done the most for this goal, but I am very conscious when I buy new books. I try to only buy physical books when I really want to read them. So if it's favorite authors that come up with new books or series I want to continue reading and stuff like that. So I don't really do very impromptu, spontaneous book buying. And because of that, I think that my TBR hasn't really grown in the last couple of years. It has gone down, and I'm right now around 30-ish books. So I think this is doable. I want to get it to 0 next year. So I am very excited about that. One reason I really want to focus on that next year is that I'm planning to do a sabbatical. So I will work until the end of April, then my contract here is over, and I decided not to look for a new job straight away. I want to take a couple of months to myself before I start looking for a new position. So that is also one reason where I think that will be a time where I really want to focus on bringing that TBR down, just because it has been such a big goal for so many years now. So now you know. I'm not quite sure how I want to go about it. I know that a lot of bigger booktube channels are currently doing kind of TBR destruction videos, and there is a ton of possibilities out there how to do it. I don't know if I will do any of that. I do have some ideas that are not very well thought through yet, so we'll see how I go about it. There will also be readathons that I want to participate in next year that will probably hinder my plans a little bit and stuff like that. And then also with this list of new authors and series to read, obviously those will go on top of my current TBR as well. So let's start with the 5 series I want to marathon read next year. These are in no particular order, but these are the ones I have chosen. Now, we will see that there is some question marks, but yeah, I made a list of series that were possibilities for this, and I have 29 series on that list. So choosing 5 of those was really hard. I also had one, the final spot, be chosen by a Discord community that I am part of. So I had a little bit of help with the choosing, but yeah, let's start out with the ones that I have chosen. And the first one would be the Between Earth and Sky series by Rebecca Roanhorse, and the first book of that would be Black Sun. This is a series that I wanted to read since the first book came out. I have been patiently waiting for the final book, and now that it is out, I definitely want to read it. I haven't heard the greatest things about book 2 and 3, but I still want to give it a try and just make up my own thoughts about the series. In the broadest sense, I think this is a book series that focuses or is inspired by indigenous South American mythology or something like that. I never really know what books are about before I go into them. That's just how I like it. So I'm very excited to give this a try. I have not read anything from Rebecca Roanhorse before, so that will be very interesting. Then the next one has a little bit of a question mark because it is Mistborn Era 2 by Brandon Sanderson. This is a 4-book series that is set, I think, a couple of thousand years after the first Mistborn trilogy. Now, while I am filming this, I still have not started the first Mistborn trilogy, even though that is on my list to read for 2024. So I am behind. I don't think I will be able to finish it this year, but I will definitely start it this year and hope to finish it very early in 2025 so I can officially have the sequel series on my TBR for 2025. I don't really know what this one is about. I know that this is like a progression of the world. I think the magic is based around metal, and in the second series I think they already have guns and stuff like that, and I think it is a little bit more like westerny, but I might be completely wrong with that. Now, to be fair, I think for like what I've heard about it, I'm interested in the second series a little bit more than the first one. So we'll see how that goes. I sometimes have that I hear like things that intrigue me more about the second series in the world than the first one. So we're still gonna read the first trilogy, even though it probably won't be this year completely. Another continuation I want to read next year is the next trilogy in the realm of the Elden series. So I made it up to Tawny Man, I think. So I have read the first 2 trilogies. We had the Farseer trilogy and then the Lifeship Trader series. So I have finished those. I'm on to the third one. So we're returning to Fitz's story. I really don't know anything about this series yet, but I'm very intrigued to go read it. And yeah, with Robin Hobb, I'm just prepared for some heartbreak, and we'll just see. Like, Fitz had some like decisions in the first trilogy that I wasn't always like super happy about, so we'll see how that continues on in this third trilogy. Then we have The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. Now, this choice is mainly inspired by Lily from the channel Lily's Little Library. I will link her down below, but she did an amazing reading vlog, or like multiple ones, where she talked about this series in 2024, and this is a series that I have been meaning to read for a very long time. This is definitely one that has lived on my wish list for way too long, and when I saw Lily discuss it, like how much she loved that series and how much it impacted her, I was like, this is the time. I have to put it on my list because it's getting ridiculous. Like, I don't know how long ago this series was released, but it has been on my wish list ever since. So this year, in 2025, we're gonna get to it. Do I know anything about this? Not really. This is maybe inspired by like the Philippines, like myth or something like that from that region of the world. Not quite sure, but Rin Chupeco is an author with like Filipinian roots. I don't know if that is how you say it. But yeah, so I'm very excited to give this one a try. It has witch in the title, which makes me think that this is going to be perfect for the autumnal times. And I just want to read this series, so I'm gonna do it. And for the series number 5, I want to thank everyone from Jolene's Discord who voted for this one. I hope you did not vote for a series I won't like, but I have very strong feelings that I will love this one because so many people I trust really enjoyed it. And that is the Rook Rose series by MA Carrick. I think that is an author duo, so it will be very interesting to see whether you can feel it in the writing that there is multiple authors writing this series. This one I think has a Venetian setting, which I'm very excited about because I love Venice. I have been there multiple times, and I always thought I wouldn't enjoy it because it was such a like mainstream kind of touristy destination, but once I set my foot into this city, I just fell in love. So I'm very excited to read this series and see whether it can make me recall those feelings of being in Venice. So those are the 5 series I want to read. Next we're going to talk about the 5 authors I want to try. Now with these I only choose one book of these authors to read just to make it manageable for me. I definitely also would like to read multiple books by these authors, but it's just not how my reading works. I don't really read a lot of like the same authors over and over again. I usually also read like a ton of new authors all the time. And so this list, these are authors that I wanted to try for many years, but I haven't really gotten around to because sometimes I'm intimidated by their books or it's just not very easy access for the books that I want to read. So let's talk about these authors. So the first one is Tananarive. I had The Good House on my wish list for so long now, like literal years. I don't quite know when the book came out, but it has been a while. And for this book, I never found an audiobook, and that is how I really like reading more scary, like horror type books. So I still haven't read this one, and this year I decided to put the physical book on my Christmas wish list, and so I hope that I will receive it, and if I don't, I will buy it myself, and we are going to read The Good House. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. I think this kind of like black horror just really works so well for me, and I have a very strong feeling that this is going to be one of my favorite authors. So I just need to sit down and read this book. Now, she also had a new book come out, I think this year, The Reformatory, which I could access on audio. So I hope that once I have gotten The Good House out of the way, I will just read more from this author. The next one is a classic. With this one, I literally know nothing about what this book is about, but it's just an author that I feel like I want to kind of tick off. I want to know that I have tried this author, and that is Zora Neal Hurston. And I think the most famous book, or at least the one I have heard most about, is Their Eyes Were Watching God. As I said, I know absolutely nothing. Since I went to school in Germany, I don't really know a lot about like American literature or British literature or anything like that. We didn't really read the classics in school. We read German classics, which I can't really recommend all that much. So yeah, I'm trying to catch up a little bit, and I think Zora Neale Hurston is one of those people that you definitely have to read at some point in your life. Then we have a book that is a little bit intimidating because people just love it so much. So obviously I want to be part of that. I want to love this book, but I'm always held back a little bit because when like expectations are so high, I'm just scared the book will disappoint, which I don't think this one will, but like this nibbling feeling doesn't go away. So I put it on the list, and that is Simon Jimenez with The Spear Cuts Through Water. I think this author also has a more sci-fi book. I don't recall whether that is a short story collection or also a novel, but since I'm more of a fantasy reader, I think this one will work better for me. But ideally, if I love this one, I also want to read the other work. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I have heard just like amazing things about this. It's like almost mind-altering, so we'll see. I am a bit scared, but I hope this will be like an easy 5-star read for me. Another author that has been on my list for a very long time, but just recently also had a new book released that a lot of people kind of gave attention to, and that would be Sarah Beth Durst. And I put Raise the Sands on my list because I think that is the first book I got really interested in from her. She released, I think, The Spell Shop in 2024, so a lot of people were talking about that one. And before that, she has like so many different books in so many different genres. Most of it has like fantasy or speculative notes to it, but she seems to be able to write like very, very broadly. So I'm very interested to check that out. I do love a good desert fantasy, so I think Raise the Sands will be really cool. I've also heard that this one has a very interesting mentor-mentee relationship that is almost like a coach kind of thing because it is about this race. So we'll see. I'm very excited to give this one a try. And then last but not least, to mix it up a little bit, not so much fantasy, I have S.A. Cosby, and the book I chose was Blacktop, Wasteland. This is an author that I think writes more thrillery, literary content that is usually also dealing with very heavy topics, and especially race, but also like other things. So I definitely want to check these books out as well. And again, I don't really know a lot about like what this book is about or anything like that. I just heard great things about the author in general and about this book. So I put it on the list and I hope that this will be a success. And that will be my list. These are my reading goals for 2025. Definitely let me know in the comments which reading goals you have for the new year. Maybe you also want to reach a 0 TBR, then I would love to hear about that. But yeah, just overall, what kind of reading goals do you set for yourselves? I would love to hear it in the comments. Also leave a like if you enjoyed watching this video, it really helps me out. And also, I don't really like doing this, but I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you enjoyed this video, then maybe consider subscribing as well, because it would be like so cool to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Okay, that's it from me. Have a great day and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!